Sellers are getting hit with one of the worst ASIN level restrictions on inventory that we have seen in years, and I am here to tell you everything that I can about it. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm sales director here at My Amazon Guy, and we are seeing this pop up across the board on tons of sellers' accounts. One of the great parts about being an agency is that we have 400 different brands that we can constantly see different actions happening and essentially infer what really is going on the back end. So, what is going on here? Well, many sellers are currently seeing the aspect where they are seeing FBA product level restrictions and they're not able to actually send in inventory even from AWD. So, why? Well, many sellers who weren't around in the time of 2020, 2021 didn't know about the aspect where Amazon did this once before. Essentially, they made it so that you could only send in roughly 90 days worth of inventory. And if you look on AWD or try and send in inventory right now, you may be met with something like this where essentially you get an FBA product level restriction. When you go to fix the issue, you get met with a blank screen that goes nowhere, essentially, because, why would it? Now, this is essentially going to be showing blocked for auto replenishment from AWD. For the FBA side, this is going to be showing that essentially you cannot send in any inventory that is over 90 days worth for many of your products. Why is this happening? Well, a couple of different theories so far are going around. One of the primary ones that we are seeing is that we have a belief that this is actually tariff related. During Q1 this year, we saw many of our Vendor Central accounts get large POs, much larger than anything they normally would get. Our theory here is that Amazon, knowing the tariffs are coming in, was planning on buying a bunch of inventory for vendor because they know that cost of goods is about to rise substantially for many of their Vendor Central accounts. So therefore, all of the fulfillment centers are currently stocked to the brim with all of the vendor inventory that Amazon bought. What implication does this have for the regular seller? Well, some pretty big ones, honestly. So this is primarily only affecting products with a lower sell-through rate. So when you're looking at your sell-through rate, typically it's only going to be your lowest products. You can only send in about 90 days worth of inventory. If you try and go over that allotment, Amazon's going to say, nope, sorry, can't do it. And you get met with this roadblock. Now, the really interesting part is that this actually initially came out with the COVID-19 banner. So that's a really big aspect. Now, I will give credit where credit is due. This was initially given out from Blair here on LinkedIn, where you can actually see let me pull this up. Blair had initially talked about this. If you want a really in-depth guide on this, I would definitely go through, read his post about it. He misses a couple of factors and whatnot of what you should do, but this is unlikely to change anytime soon. The aspect that I really don't like that he actually talks about here is the fact that Amazon isn't announcing it officially. This is a really big problem where essentially we don't have any data whatsoever on whether or not Amazon has officially announced this at all. They're essentially just leaving us in the dark and telling us whether or not this is going to stay long-term, short-term, we don't know. The big part that I'm worried about is Prime Day. So this is going to have major impact because normally for Prime Day, sellers are trying to stock up as much inventory as possible, as quickly as possible, and this is going to stop us from being able to do that, especially for our lower products. Some people only sell those products during Prime Day. So what are some actionable things that you can actually do to try and subvert this for the time being? Well, my number one strategy is going to be this. Try and increase your sell-through rate through things such as promotions, discounts, and keep on top of as much inventory as you can. If you have a product that's only selling, let's say 10 units a week, and its sell-through rate is fairly minimal overall, and the 90 day isn't going to work, I would really look right now at doing as frequent of inventory updates as possible on products like that. Keep that supply to yourself. Don't send it into AWD because it likely won't let you send to AWD in small batches. So you're going to be forced to essentially send in large batches. Now, is this the end of the world? No, but this is definitely going to be very difficult. It's going to be exactly like 2020, 2021 when the warehouses were fully stocked and sell-through rates ended up plummeting because of it. So these are some really big actions that Amazon is taking, especially those without actually officially giving a statement to sellers as to why they're doing it and how it's happening. Again, personal belief here is that Amazon stocked up on way too much inventory, knowing that their cost of goods for tariffs is about to skyrocket. And so they're essentially keeping the warehouse all to themselves as much as they possibly can. Fortunately, there's not an immediate solve to this solution or to this problem. The only real thing you can do is increase your overall sell-through rate for the actual product. So I'll link down below the article that Blair had on his LinkedIn, as well as another one relating to this on a couple of different actions. But realistically, your best choice of action right now, keep at least 90 days in for your lower sell-through rate. Consistently update that. Send into AWD the largest amount you possibly can, as far as understanding where that's going to be, especially prior to Prime Day. And then finally, increase your sell-through rate through things such as promotions right now, because otherwise you're really going to get stuck when it comes to Prime Day and not be able to have enough inventory in stock. So any other things that come out about this, we will keep you guys posted. But unfortunately, this is seeming like just another tariff-related issue that sellers are going to have to face when it comes to Amazon. And realistically, it sounds like a problem that Amazon created themselves, and sellers are pretty used to that. Again, it's all of us versus Amazon, right? So perfect day for me to have the shirt on. We will keep you guys posted on any new updates on this.